Hello, hello. I will be not alone on a stage. So it's my pleasure to invite my dear panelists, Ulle Zakovsky, who is CEO of Danone Baltic, Martin Gauss, CEO and Chairman of the Management Board at airBaltic, Giedrius Vanzevicius, CEO of Rimi Baltic, and Margit Asme, CEO, co-founder of Fotografiska Tallinn. Welcome. Have a seat. And actually, it's not quite an easy task to discuss with CEOs who sometimes are succeeding a lot in a sustainability journey. But we can feel in the market that there are still a critique, some expectations that we need to do more and how to achieve it. And most aspect is how to incorporate or embed sustainability aspects in the core as a business. So meaning strategy and also business model, and how can we show this progress to our customers and all stakeholders around. So today we'll have some brief questions and brief answers, and also we'll try to dig in your experience, some challenges and also suggestions for participants, how we can proceed in the journey of sustainability. But let's start with quite a simple question. If you would need to introduce yourself and just to point out something that you are proud how your company is doing in terms of sustainability. So Giedrius, let's start with you.
Yes, thank you very much, and good morning, everyone. Really happy to be here. Little bit of intro about myself. So my name is Giedrius Banzevicius. I'm the CEO of Rimi Baltic since the beginning of 2022. But I joined Rimi back in 2017 as a country manager for Lithuania. And before that, I was working for different kind of companies, Circle K, Statoil, Telia, and so on. And basically, there is one connecting line throughout the career, which is exactly that I was working mainly for the Scandinavian companies. And when I was reflecting to myself how that happened, so actually, one of the reasons is that the business culture, the values, and the leadership in the Scandinavian companies is very close to my personal values. And then corporate responsibility and sustainability is high on the agenda in those companies. And again, that's one of the reasons. So joining Rimi, I was definitely looking for something similar. And Rimi obviously is the company with the Scandinavian roots. And, to be proud about something, it's very, very difficult to single out something concrete, but I would like to mention one milestone from Rimi Baltic. And back in 2020, Rimi Baltic with the mother company ICA Group became climate neutral company in our own operations. So that was obviously very important achievement, which was summarizing all the efforts, investments, and initiatives in the sustainability area. And then a year later, United Nations recognized that achievement, and during the climate change conference in Glasgow, ICA and Rimi received the reward for the climate ambition beyond climate neutrality. So that is something which is definitely makes me proud.
Okay, values and climate neutrality. Okay, Martin, would you like to continue?
Yeah, my name is Martin Gauss. I'm the CEO of airBaltic for 12 years now here in Latvia. And I'm proud of a decision we took in 2012, short after I arrived, to invest into an aircraft model which didn't exist at the time. We started to purchase them. Today it pays off because we fly the most modern and most efficient fleet in the world today and for the years to come. That makes me proud because we deliver daily something which is more sustainable than what we had before or what others have. And on another topic, we last year received a global award, all airlines at IATA, for number one being in diversion and inclusion. So it's not only for us as an airline where CO2 and fuel is the big item, the biggest item for us. It's also how we do the business, and we were recognized for that. These two things make me proud and a good fundament to go forward, because there's a long journey ahead in our industry to become sustainable, as in some other industries we are already.
Okay, fleet, proper investment, and diversity team. Ulla.
Thanks a lot, firstly, for inviting me. It's really great to be here at the Baltic Sustainability Awards in Riga. So my name is Ulla Tsakovsky, and I'm the CEO in Danone for Baltics and Finland, responsible for all the Danone business units in the region. In Baltics and in Finland, we operate in the categories of dairy, plant-based, and specialized nutrition. And you might recognize some of our brands like Actimel, Alpro, Aptamil, Tutteli, or NutriDrink, for example. And to the question, what am I proud of when it comes to sustainability? Well, it's a long list.
And just one.
Yeah. Well, it cannot be just one. So I would actually like to look at it a bit from two angles. So what am I proud of globally when it comes to Danone, and then also what we do locally here. So globally, sustainability is really in the heart and in the DNA of Danone. We have a long history in social and environmental responsibility. Already 50 years ago, one of our former CEOs said that the responsibility of the company does not end at the factory gates. And this is really the heritage that we're very proud of and still live today. But to become sustainable does not happen overnight, and it requires a lot of work. So we have, as Danone, we have set up our frame for sustainability, and it's called Danone Impact Journey. So it's really the areas where we can have impact as a company. And it's divided into 3 pillars. First is health, second is nature, and the third one is people and communities. And then what do we do here locally? So beyond everything that I mentioned that we do, where we look at globally, sustainability is really incorporated into the everyday business that we do here. And just a few examples that I want to give is that all of our managers, for example, have social or environmental objectives linked to their annual bonuses. Our senior leadership team is super engaged in the sustainability topics. We have mandatory e-learnings, for example, for all employees on the sustainability topics. And then we also have a volunteering program. And then on top of that, the last thing that I'm very proud of is our B Corp certification. So we just became B Corp certified in Baltics in June this year, and it's something that we're super proud of. And actually, we're hosting a B Corp workshop today here, so make sure you all join at 1:10. We're hosting it with the B Lab and Calve Coffee as well.
All right, so quite a holistic approach, how you describe them, B Corp. But I will come back to B Corp later on, so it sounds quite interesting what it is. So maybe it can be quite interesting to use for participants as well. So, Margit.
Hello, I'm Margit Aasmäe. I'm one of the founders and the CEO at Fotografiska Tallinn. Fotografiska is a combination of a photo museum and food business. And we started our journey 4 years ago when we got very, very inspired by Fotografiska in Stockholm. That is the similar business, but what it kind of sets apart from everybody else in the industry is that it's a privately owned business, and it's driven on the sustainable worldview. Our mission is to inspire a more conscious world. Now, like 4 years later, what I'm really proud about is that the business was founded by the founders just because we wanted to change the world. We wanted to do business sustainably. And what we have done is that we have attracted a team behind us, and then we are really chasing the world. Our food business is driven on the zero waste concept. So we've been recognized as the only Michelin star restaurant 2nd year in a row, receiving the Green Star for the sustainable food management. And what we do with exhibitions, photo exhibitions, is that we bring the very hard topics to the platform. And as we become big player in the industry, that also gives us the opportunity to actually talk about these things and lead by example.
Oh, marvelous. So thank you for this first round. But it sounds that everything is perfect. But is it in real life? So I will give example of two gaps what we can observe in the market. So one regarding sustainability. So it seems that everybody knows that we need to do something, and it's sustainability is like an avalanche. So all over the place, a lot of events, a lot of improvement in legislation or expectations are growing, also from stakeholders. But then how much we are actually implementing or doing this. So from statistics, of course, it depends what is the scope, but we are asking the question. Around just half of the companies are incorporating all the sustainability-related aspects in the core of the business, also in strategy. And just 25% are incorporate or improve the business model to reflect and also describe how actually we are doing that. And the second gap is pure compliance. If somebody will demand from the European Union or national regulators, so we'll implement it, we'll do it. And what about the business case? So where is this competitive advantage? So how to deal with this gap? So if we know that it's not a perfect situation in market in Baltics and globally, so what would be your thoughts? What actually holds companies back from implementing proper sustainability journey? So Ulla, you can share your experience.
Yes, thank you. And that's a really interesting question. And I would actually like to divide it into two parts, because the first part is really what holds companies back from starting even the impact journey or the sustainability journey. And then the second one is what holds them back from implementing it. So on the first one, I actually think that the biggest obstacle that holds companies back from getting started is finding the right focus areas, because it's not so easy to really know where to start, and nobody can do it all. So we as companies, we need to find the focus areas where we can have the most impact, where we can contribute the most. And what I mentioned a bit in my previous answers, for example, we as Danone, we have defined the areas as health, nature, people, and communities. And this is where we feel that we can have the biggest impact as a company. So if I give just a few examples, so for example, on health, we sell food in 120 markets around the world. And we have a huge impact with the portfolio of products that we sell. And we're continuously improving the healthiness of our portfolio. Then on the second one, on nature, representing roughly 1/3 of global emissions, food has an essential role to play in tackling the climate crisis. So it's a huge area where we can impact. And then thirdly, on people and communities. Here the question really is that how can we impact positively the people and ecosystems around us? So that's a bit on how to get started and how to find the area where you can impact. And then a bit on what's holding companies back from implementing the sustainability journey. I think one of the biggest issues is really to embed the sustainability into the company, because often it can be nice words, but it's really not embedded in the company. And it needs to also create value. Of course, the businesses are here to do business, so it needs to be something that creates value for the company. And then the second point is a bit on financing, because some of these initiatives do require funding. And it's actually a bit of a bigger topic, because many companies are struggling with financing some of sustainability initiatives. But maybe we could come back to that a bit later on in the panel when we move forward on how to finance some of these initiatives.
Okay, so materiality was first, how to start, and then also how to, if you're not embedding, so and how to attract finance. Okay, Giedrius, agree with those? Put something more?
Absolutely, I think that's very much in line with Rimi's kind of approach in this area, and I think everything starts with really making sustainability part of your agenda in all respects. You know, it should be part of the strategy. At Rimi, we state about the sustainability even in our mission, so which says that we drive sustainable and healthy choices that help in people's life and society. So I think it starts with that, because if I'm reflecting back like 9 years, back then it was actually more about the compliance, I would say. And now we are turning more into the value creation related to the sustainability, right? And I think one of the important misleading beliefs is that sustainability investments and efforts have no payback and have no kind of business effects. And I can give you a few examples. So, for example, at Rimi, we launched the digital receipts. And basically, we started in the self-checkouts. Then now it's available at all types of checkouts, right? So customer can choose if he or she wants to have the paper version of the receipt or the digital one. And in 2022, we reduced the number of the paper received by 19.8 million, which is the equivalent of 17.4 tons of paper. So again, that's obviously a lot about, saving the forests and so on. But at the same time, this is the cost saving for the company. Another good example is our major investment into the upgrade of the freezing and the lightning equipment. More than 20 millions we invested over the couple of last years. Obviously, we changed the Freon into something more climate friendly. We introduced the LED lighting in our stores. Substantial investment. But then at the same time, we are saving the electricity. So our consumption went down significantly. And obviously, during the energy crisis last year, it was so obvious that was one of the best investments in our history. So I think really trying to find those win-win situations in the beginning, I think that would be an important first step probably for the companies who are seriously considering to embark that journey.
Okay, so it sounds like we need to assess how mature actually companies are in the sustainability journey. That sustainability initiatives are not just cost. So how to see as opportunity? Thank you for this point. Martin.
Yeah, what's holding us back? We are a very specific industry in the limelight of sustainability, mainly because of the fuel we burn as an airline industry. But I'd like to look at it differently. I see, okay, what are we doing? And if you take a flight from Riga to Amsterdam, to go from Riga to Amsterdam, you ask the question, is that sustainable? And if so, how can you do it? And if we look at current numbers, by car, you have about 250 kilograms of CO2. If one person goes by car, it takes 20 hours. And that's just a fuel burn on a car. If you fly on our plane today, it's 2 hours 45, and it is 120 kilograms of CO2 with the current load factors. It goes down and down now because we have more passengers. But the first question is, do you need to go from Riga to Amsterdam? And then how can you do it the most sustainable way today? That would be taking an airBaltic flight. There's nothing better to do it. You could argue the car has 4 people and then you divide the fuel by 4. If we look at the problems to go further to make this a journey which doesn't use any fuel, we need a technology which just does not exist today, because we have the latest technology now, and for the foreseeable future, Airbus, the only one at the moment in this size of airplane, saying they would have something available which is not burning fuel anymore by earliest 2035. So if we say today we want to immediately buy the latest technology, we would not get anything before 2040. Which means on the way, we have we have local legislation which says what we should do, and we follow all of that. We're actually leading there. But we have to also accept we are already in a lot of areas, if we transport people over longer distances or good, the most sustainable way of doing it. But we can do all the other stuff, which we have all electric cars on the ground, a very provocative decision we took of taking Audi e-trons for the company, but we have 100% electrical cars today. We have paperless We have the boarding passes. Most passengers today choose to have a digital boarding pass. Everything we do is digital. Yeah, our pilots are not having any papers anymore. All the quick wins we can take in the company, which we can take today, but we cannot change the technology. We as an airline cannot, and our industry is not able to do this. We have committed as an industry globally to be carbon neutral by 2050 on a global scale, and I think we will achieve that. But today we have to accept that being sustainable, assuming that you need to go from A to B for whatever reason, the most sustainable way today is doing it the way we do it. And therefore, we're not held back. We are in a process of development which will go into the year 2050. We will not have quicker wins. We can take different fuel over time, but we will not just in 5 years' time say, okay, it's done, no emissions anymore. This is not possible. We can reduce further, but we cannot, there's no wonders happening, and that is due to technology.
All right. So different situations in different industries, and I guess we cannot expect that from tomorrow you're doing everything in that or other way because the technology is not there, right? Yes, thanks, Martin. Margit.
Well, I think that it's not a question how to embed the sustainability into your agenda. It's like it's kind of the other way around, that you do the business this way, and you kind of, it's not like a essence in itself that you need to deal with it, but like you need to understand like what are your processes, and then really understand, okay, how will I do them to make like the least kind of bad effect on the planet. So it's I think it's there is some truth in it if you start to live it, not that you have just put it on agenda and you see how you're gonna fit it with your business.
Yes, thanks. So kind of next topic or question what I would like to raise. So do you think that greenwashing is a problem? So those who think in a market, so you can raise a hand. Is this a problem? So, and is a greenwashing problem in Baltic? Of course. So raise your hand. Grey-washing, greenwashing, whitewashing, whatever, washing, but still washing. So everything that you told before. So if I would come to you and say, well, you're a greenwasher, or your company is, doing a greenwashing. So what would be your answer? Martin, do you want to start?
Yeah, we have green tails, and our company logo, everything is green, so we can't change that. That was there long time ago. I think to not greenwash, again, my industry, say facts. If we talk about how much less emissions are produced by the plane we fly, then use precise numbers. Don't say that you fly carbon neutral by day X if you cannot prove that. So greenwashing would be, so we are not greenwashing because there is a lot of people eyeing everything we do, any advertising we do, immediately everybody says that could be greenwashing. So we are checking for that. But I think it is a problem that a lot of people jumped on that train and say, I do something green, it's greener and it's neutral and so on. It's not. I think with us, we do not have that problem because we are very transparent, open about what we are doing. We have a sustainability report which details it by gram, how much emissions, and that's the key issue here. So we are not accused yet, but I see I see this more and more coming, that also in our industry, that the way how advertising is done, that people say that is greenwashing. It's difficult. So to avoid it, you can just state facts and be open and transparent. And a lot of people don't like it if I say on different panels that there is no solution tomorrow. It's a fact. But that is also then going against greenwashing, to be transparent and say that's the fact. We cannot change it tomorrow. And I think that's how we avoid it, just to be transparent.
Transparency regarding what you're doing and providing facts, because it's quite interesting. There was recently I read a research that more than 60% of investors globally are saying that the greenwashing activities are just increasing. So and they are also in this trap when you're investing in green products, but it seems that afterwards, it's not the truth. And also European Union, there was research, and the fact is that 53% of green claims on products and services make misleading and unfounded claims, and 40% has no evidence at all that this is somehow related to sustainability. So, Ulla, if I would address the same question to you, so if there are some somebody who is saying, well, what would be your answer?
Yes. So indeed, this is a tricky topic, and it's a very important topic, because on one hand, indeed, what you said about percentages of having false claims and so on, it really is an issue. But then on the other hand, I think there are still a lot of companies that are not communicating at all about what they're doing. So maybe if I tackle it a bit from a few different angles, well, firstly, I would kind of say that it's very important that companies still start the journey, that they start communicating about what they are doing. Because also when you start your sustainability journey, you cannot be perfect from day one. So most important thing is to start and don't expect to be perfect. Then second, I would say that companies do need to communicate about sustainability and what they are doing. It's important to inform consumers and also inspire and encourage other companies and peers and organizations. And through showing the wider audience that companies are moving also on their sustainability journey. But indeed, there is this very thin line of being very proud and showing what you do versus overpromising, and hence, of course, having false claims. So to me, sustainability is a journey, and everyone should start, and companies should communicate about that. But stay with the facts. If you have in your organization, if you have experts, sustainability experts, make sure that the claims that you're saying are true. Don't overpromise. A golden rule would be to think, if you make a claim, do you have data to prove it? Do you have data points to show that this claim is true? So
simple, right?
So it sounds quite simple, but really I would still advocate companies that do communicate about what you're doing on sustainability, because it is super important. But just, try to stay with the facts and don't overpromise.
Okay, Margit, something to add and how to avoid in Baltic?
Yeah, I totally agree with what you said, but also that we think it's we've decided that we don't do anything for just that we want to market something or want to say something cool. That we really want to understand, like, if we do something, what effect does it have? And very often it is difficult to understand because you don't own the whole supply chain, you don't know what's happening there. But then yes, what you say is that then take this thing that you know and then do it, and then still doesn't need to hold you back from actually doing things, because that's also important, that you act and then communicate.
Right, thank you. Giedrius, you have the hardest part, be the last one to add your experience.
Yeah, but maybe a few things from my side as well. First of all, I think greenwashing as a term is relatively new, right? But if you look at the underlying fair consumer practices, they're embedded into the regulation for quite a while. So I think it's also about being compliant, right? So you need to follow the regulations, fully agree on the evidence-based communication. So if you don't have proofs, if you don't have facts, obviously you should not communicate something publicly. And maybe one more aspect in this is that sometimes you see that companies are really trying to communicate positive news, which is normal. From the business perspective, sustainability is not an exception. But I think sometimes you should be also brave enough to share your challenges or the areas where you are struggling, And again, I can give one example from the Rimi experience. We have very high ambitious targets to reduce the food waste in our operations. And if you look back from 2016 to 2021, we were not succeeding at all. I mean, it was flat or even going up. So, and you know, it's not nice, obviously, to come up with those news. If you are committed, you have clear targets, but results are not coming in. But, you know, we also issued the sustainability report, and we openly share that we are not happy with the progress and so on. You obviously mobilize internally in the company. In 2021, we made the food waste one of the top 6 priorities in the company. And in 22, 23, we managed to reduce it by 25%. So 150 trucks were donated to the food banks. And then if you balance that communication in that way, I think that creates trust towards your stakeholders, including consumers. So I think we should be transparent and open, both sharing our success stories, but also highlighting or communicating about the challenges in that area.
Absolutely good point, because sometimes when you're following in stock exchange, US companies or in Baltic stock exchange, so a lot of positive stories, right? So the question is, how much is the challenges are we meeting the KPIs that are setting of this honesty, values, not over-promising. So thank you. Some keywords are marked quite well. So we started with, in a first question, you mentioned that, yes, so this holistic approach and you're embedding ESG and sustainability at the core of the business in all processes. Reviewing business model elements. So what about allocation of resources? Target setting, so KPIs, is it approved by management boards or board of directors, and even are the shareholder expectations towards sustainability? So how we are engaging with our stakeholders, how we are adopting transparent reporting processes, that we are honest to our stakeholders, and more what I have seen that sustainability cannot be just the issue of a marketing or communication manager. That means that CEOs should be engaged, right? The board of directors should be engaged to discuss sustainability, this matter. So knowing all this, that this is not an easy journey, right? And on a CEO desk, you have plenty of topics to solve and plenty of challenges, and to explain also shareholders who sometimes want to have a greater returns, and the rest can be just, if you want to do something, it's your free will. So how we can generally ensure that sustainability becomes an essential part of business model and strategy, not just a marketing ploy. That sounds good. So what would be your advice in this regard? How to implement this holistic approach, Martin?
So in our case, we are already listed with a bond at the stock exchange. That means all the investors today have very hard criteria what they can invest in. So we have from an outside view, a kind of an audit also now going for an IPO. We are talking to hundreds of investors, and one of the key questions you have to tick when you talk there is your sustainability, which means in our case we have a head of sustainability, full-time employed, a team around it. We are producing a sustainability report. And what is in the report, of course, then is tested by potential investors in the future. And that's the outside check. We internally, of course, have KPIs in very different levels of getting better and better, but of course tailored for our industry. So and that again, the main topic here is to avoid emissions. That is the key topic. We have also KPIs for technology development on the ground, but in our industry, the key element is reducing the emissions, noise levels, and that is monitored actually in our case from the financial world, from outside.
Okay, so you have KPIs regarding sustainability that is approved for a year and in upcoming years, and then sustainability report that is audited, so that all investors target.
Yeah, we have also identified kind of the whole circle of stakeholders that we affect. First, like as a business, we are running a very big food business. We have customers. We have the supply chain that we are part of. That where we get the foods from and how we process the food, and also like acknowledging that we are part of a food industry, so that other businesses like us are also our stakeholders. And as a exhibition platform, we're also acknowledging that that there is a wider public that we can affect, and then we can take all these bits and pieces and understand what we can do in all of these different areas, and what steps, what are the actionable steps, what are the kind of the softer steps that we just like raise the issue and let it fly there, and hope that people catch the essence and kind of embed that into their thinking process and take it to their homes and take their steps.
Hey, thanks, Giedrius. Ed?
Yeah, so fully agree with the importance of integrating the sustainability into the business strategy. I think it should be not kind of hold separately. I think it should become the part of the business model. You need to have the long-term view on that. You need to make it actionable. You need to have ways how to measure the progress and really act on it when you see some gaps. So that's one part. But I think I would like to also touch the importance of culture in the company. So Rimi, for example, we employ 12,000 employees, right? And then if you don't have the critical mass of supporters, the people who believe that we are doing the right thing, then I think it's very difficult to expect some good results and progress in that area. And from our perspective, as I said, it's part of our mission statement. So potential candidates, employees, talents who are considering to join Rimi, they're obviously searching for those things, and I hope that they are choosing and making the choice based on company values, what we are communicating, what we are aiming for. And by that, I think you create the internal community, internal ambassadors who are helping to drive that agenda big time. Again, the same example of the food waste initiative, we had a team, and in particular one person who was really, without any additional incentives, was so much self-motivated, self-driven in that initiative, because the person believed that he or she is doing meaningful job, right? So I think the culture is another important aspect. And thinking about my role in that journey, I think I need to enable the organization to deliver on that, to make sure that we have resources, we have clarity about the direction, we invest into it, and we are consistent with our promises. So I think that's also important.
Yes, thanks.
Yeah, well, I think many of the things already have been said. But I can only echo already what was mentioned about, obviously, measurable KPIs and targets, about the culture, and really embedding sustainability into the company. So I think it's really key that when sustainability is embedded in the company, all employees participate in the journey. And we as leaders, we also need to create touch points to create that engagement with everyone, whether it's regular town halls, trainings, various events, volunteering programs, engagement initiatives, you name it. But just that you bring sustainability alive in the company, in addition to everything that's mentioned.
All right. You touched some point, but what was related to my next question, because CEO in governance world, it means that there should be tone at the top. And sometimes being on the top, it's quite a lonely job, right? Well, sometimes you need to make some painful decisions and change the structure and change the strategy. So if you would share your experience as being a leader of your organization, CEO and CEO's role in sustainability, also how we can overcome lot of challenges and a lot of demands and expectations from various stakeholders. And how can you know that you are doing well related to sustainability journey? What is your benchmark, or how are you calling to other CEOs, or you're looking in reports what other companies are doing? So how do you know that you're succeeding? Ola, do you want to start?
Yeah, sure. Okay. Well, so there were many questions in one, but if I answer, let's say, to the last one, so how would I know that we're succeeding in terms of sustainability? Well, it's interesting because sustainability cannot be really measured in a such direct way as, for example, sales performance. So to me, it really kind of comes down to the question that how do we measure the impact that our company has to its all stakeholders? And something that I mentioned already before, the B Corp certification actually is a tool that helps us exactly to track this, because it's also a management tool. So basically, if we're doing all the things correct in the B Corp certification, it means that we're really implementing our Danone impact journey, which is our frame for the sustainability journey.
Sorry to interrupt. Can you just briefly explain what is B Corp and why you are certified? And
Yes. So really, B Corp companies, so B stands for benefit and Corp for corporation. And the B Corp companies really use their force for good. So while doing business, at the same time, they're also helping environment and social aspects. So that's really it in a nutshell.
And it's a process.
And it's a process. It's really a journey when you're looking at the business from multiple angles. And in general, I do see sustainability as a journey, and it's difficult to evaluate if you're doing your best because, of course, there's always so much more to do, and we can constantly improve. However, I would say that we're doing good when we have defined those focus areas that I mentioned earlier, when we put it into a frame, into some kind of sustainability frame, where we have leaders fully supporting the whole company and the teams in impacting this journey. And when we have measurable KPIs and targets that we're able to track. And we need to have adequate teams and resources really behind the sustainability journey.
Okay, thank you. Margit, please.
Yeah, I'll continue from that because I kind of had the same point exactly, that it's, I think one of the challenges to, not that we don't understand that it's a journey, but like very often it's, the discussions around the table are like, are we doing enough? Are we doing fast enough? Like, and then also kind of the feeling that, is it all worth it? No, we know it's worth it, but we don't know, the whole, environment, like what's happening around us, then that why isn't others doing more, and that's etc. So like as a CEO, it's like I feel that it's a constant kind of inspirational talk in front there, that it's to kind of supports people to feel it, that it's not about the finish. It is the way of life, and we can understand it, but then it's still like we want more. We want to do more. But so it's kind of other question was how we find and like this, where we can do more. Then you have to constantly think and analyze. Like, okay, we have this regular meetings where we come together and share the what else, how can we do, and because all the steps matter, and it's also important to understand that and that we're very happy about it. That when we talked about the culture here, that it's people actually recognize it in the teams as well. That if you're really true to the topic, and then if you have leaders up front there that are true to the topic, then they attract similar people. They attract similar employees to the companies, and I guess we didn't realize it so well when we started, that this is actually so powerful, that there are mind-like people around there that really come to work for you because you have these values that they have, and then actually you're growing the company kind of from inside, that you have more and more people like you in a company, and then all the time look at you like, what else can I do? What else can I do? So it becomes so much easier to actually do things, and yeah, it's kind of, you have to kind of, sometimes you have to believe that you're not losing it. You're just, it's a journey. It's every step at a time.
Don't lose this inspiration. That sounds so marvelous. So let's charge and inspire our stakeholders and employees as well. So Giedris.
I fully agree on the role modeling. I think it's super important, to walk the talk internally. I think it's very important to celebrate the successes. And, sometimes when you look at those dry numbers, might sound boring, but if you convert into the tons of paper and the trees you saved, for example, that gets much more inspiring and meaningful. And one more thing which I would underline is that we need to ask our customers. And if the question is if we are succeeding or how I know that we are succeeding, I think we need to go and ask our customers. And we do that on the constant basis. And Rimi is for years recognized by the customers as the most sustainable grocery retailer in the Baltics. So that's the biggest recognition from my perspective.
Yeah, as a CEO, you are supposed to be the leader, and then there's your shareholders' demands, which mainly go for being a profitable company. There's your CFO in the company who does not want you to invest into something which doesn't have immediate returns. There's your staff, and in our case, we do weekly live brief to all staff where they can ask anonymous questions on Slido. So all staff every week can do this to me, and I have to confront that. And a lot of questions are then, why are we not doing something with the onboard waste? Why are we throwing away the food which hasn't been sold, and so on? And there's a pressure coming, and more from your staff, and as we just heard, the customers, of course, because they want to know what's their footprint more and more. There's a demand. And I think the CEO is a leader in between, trying to balance the demands from these different parties to come at the end out with a business which is still doable. Yeah? And that means you're constantly seeking for a compromise to balance the demands, because as a CEO, you will get trouble from all the parties if you are not fulfilling their needs, but you have to make a compromise to say, how can I go forward and also fulfill running a sustainable business, which means also financially sustainable.
Sounds absolutely good. So we have some last minutes left. So maybe a quick round regarding your suggestion to all companies and organizations who are here in the room and afterwards watch online. So what to do in sustainability journey. So what would be your brief recommendation? Do this or do that? Ulla, do you want to start? Just one from all the topics that we discussed.
Sure. All right. So really, maybe it's a bit of a summary of or repetition what I've said, but I would say then first, really start. Find those focus areas where you can have as a company the biggest impact on environmental and social topics. Second, really make sure that you embed it in the business, really live and breathe through the sustainability, set KPIs, track and measure them, make it heard, engage all the employees throughout the company, and celebrate and embed it in the culture.
Perfect, Margit.
Yeah, and I would add that if you're doing good things and if you're becoming already like something that you can talk about, then take that kind of mission to yourself to inspire others as well, because this is something extra you need to do. But then try to find these ways how to inspire others in that industry you're working in, because very often they are in the beginning of the journey and they don't know where to start or whatever, just to kind of help them to understand and then inspire all your customers, because this is a powerful force that we are affecting so many people's lives with our activities, and then hope they'll not only hoping, but it will definitely affect their lives as well. So it's
Martin.
So depending on, most companies, of course, have already an agenda and know what they do. But if there's somebody who says, I haven't started, then I would look for a quick win. I would have the discipline then to execute that with my team. And then most important, celebrate that quick win, make it public, talk about it, because that success everybody will feel within the company. And you will then go for the next success, because we're all driven by going for success. And in the field of sustainability, there is a lot of low-hanging fruits, a lot, which anybody today, if in a company, can, by doing it, just have a quick win. And if you have a lot of ideas, but you don't know, you're a small organization and you're not, you don't know how to start, I really recommend to write it all down in ChatGPT, as stupid as it sounds, and it will give you at least a guide on how to execute it. It's a tool today which wasn't there before, and whoever hasn't tried it, just your thoughts in there about sustainability. What should I do? Just ask it and see if what comes out makes sense. So that I would recommend.
Thanks. Giedrius.
Yeah, I think really kind of thinking about the sustainability from the value creation perspective, that helps a lot. And I think by connecting the sustainability agenda with the value creation in the business, that's a good starting point. So really answering the questions, what's in it for the shareholders, what's in it for the customers, for the employees, etc. I think that is super important. And then at the end of the day, it comes down to embarking on the journey and start with yourself. I think that's a good starting point.
Okay, so we have a checklist. So enjoyed. So it was a pleasure to discuss with you today. So our time is done. Thank you for your insights, and please keep the inspiration and be at the top and inspire your stakeholders and employees in this quite a difficult sustainability journey. So thank you very much, and thank you.